Liberals called the Trump and Elon Musk interview a softball interview. This conversation with Harris and Tim Walz is like a wiffle ball conversation.
I talk about it being halftime in America. We're a touchdown down, and I kind of like the idea of being a little bit behind.
Well, I'm looking at Coach Walz right now. I'm looking at Coach Walz.
They're in Detroit, Michigan at a jazz cafe. He's from Minnesota. She's from California, spent her teenage years in Canada. How does this make any sense?
Like I have white guy tacos and
What is
like
that,
black.
like mayonnaise and tuna? What are you doing?
Pretty much.
Holy hell, that was racist. What are white guy tacos? Tuna and mayonnaise? You're kidding me with this.
Much ground beef and cheese.
That's
and,
okay. Do you put any flavor in it?
No.
Oh.
Here's the deal.
Oh yeah, white people don't put any flavor in their food either. Thanks, Kamala.
No, they said to be careful and let her know this, that black pepper is the top of the spice level in Minnesota, you know?
Yeah, we really want our adversaries to know that our top spice level is black pepper. We want our adversaries to know we're little bitches.
I'm the first vice president, I believe, who has ever grown chili peppers.
I'm trying to expand
we'll figure
my food knowledge.
You know,
I grew chili peppers. I'm the first VP. Huh? The left loves the first female president, the first brown president, the first VP that grows her own chili peppers. Vote Kamala.
we've got some cantaloupes. You'll be fine.
Yeah.
So, I
was
called you,
hoping
Tim.
maybe we wouldn't have to.
I called you, Tim.
Yes.
You didn't answer, Tim.
I know.
What happened?
The most important call of my life. It popped up, and we didn't recognize the caller ID. You know,
See, he'd taken her number down from a bathroom stall from years before. And she was listed in his phone as booty call. So, he hung up. He was with his wife.
went to voicemail.
Hi, this is Tim. I'm not able to answer.
There you go.
Thank you.
Hey, Tim, it's Kamala. I really want to talk to you.
It is an amazing privilege for me. Also, I'm excited. I just want to be part of the excitement that you're generating.
Well,
So,
we're doing it together, buddy.
fun.
We're doing it together.
We're doing it together. Last words to Willie Brown.
How have these last couple of days been for you?
I can see where the energy comes. America is a hopeful country.
Indeed.
People are excited.
In every one of those groups of thousands, sometimes over 10,000 people, you've seen exactly who we are as America.
Yeah.
People from rural areas, urban areas, of every stripe and size and background. This is who we are as America, and we're
Yeah.
all in it together.
Yeah.
And in this campaign, the only way we win is to keep the pedal to the metal for these next many, many days that we have.
For these next many, many days. Word salads. Love them.
So, Tim,
Yeah.
what's your relationship to music?
Yeah. For me,
Ooh, hard-hitting questions.
the transformational piece of music was Bruce Springsteen's The River.
Okay.
Which is a journey. You know all the tracks.
Yeah.
And I'm that guy. My first car, it's the summer 1980, been saving up. I buy a 1973 orange Chevy Camaro. Got an 8-track player in it.
Oh, wow.
Previous owner left Bob Seger's Night Moves in there. I listened to it, and it's kind of the soundtrack of my life of Detroit's own Bob Seger. But what's really great about this is I have a 79 International as my car. It's got an 8-track player in it. I have the very 8-track to this day.
You're kidding me.
No, but how about you?
I grew up, so all these albums here, Aretha, my mother.
All right, really trying to push the black thing here. Yeah, Aretha Franklin, we're in a jazz club in Michigan.
Had every Aretha album, and like our Christmas gift to my mother, her birthday gift was always like, what's the latest Aretha Franklin record?
So it's on vinyl in your house as a background.
All of it.
Wow.
Then Miles, and my dad loved jazz, and so it was Miles, it was Coltrane. One of my personal favorite musicians for when I was younger was Prince.
Oh.
And of course from your estate.
Yeah.
And he, in fact, I'll tell you, so my husband Doug and I'm more of a hip hop girl.
Yeah.
He's more of
Oh, we know, Kamala. We know.
Depeche Mode.
Oh yeah. Oh, but at the same
but
time.
I'm sure you
no,
you
of
like the same
course.
music.
Of course.
But Prince, in the Venn diagram of things, Prince, he and I love.
She said the thing.
the same, because I mean, talk about how Prince was with that guitar, man. I almost know by heart every one of those songs.
I feel like a trip to Paisley Park is going to happen here if the staff
it's on my bucket list, I'll tell you that. Tell me about your dad and his influence on you.
Yeah.
He served our country. You have served for our country for so many years.
Yeah. I was 19. My little brother, I think, was eight or nine when he passed. He was a chain smoker. Just addicted. They got it, but Korean War era, and that generation of men, pretty stoic. After he died, my mom was a stay-at-home mom. She became our rock, and now she had to go out and get work because the medical bills broke her, and Social Security. And Social Security survivor benefits. We're fine pulling ourselves up by our bootstraps. We had no boots. That's the boots.
And it's survival, literally.
It is
Don't pretend like you sympathize, Kamala. You grew up middle class.
survival. We all paid it back. So programs that are just fundamental to keeping people from dropping into poverty, but to live with dignity. You keep talking about that.
We got to help people get through a hard time. We can't have a country and policies that let people fall through the cracks.
Yeah.
I love what you have done with your life. You were coaching a high school football team that was winless.
Yes.
And you came in, and so they were clearly the underdogs.
And
what happened?
So you've experienced being on a team of losers. We're on the losing team here, Walz. How are you going to turn us around? Because we are not looking good right now.
Yeah, it's a team, and I had great coaches with me, and we were friends, and we buckled down. And look, I was a fairly big school, but nobody wanted to play because they hadn't won. And this group of coaches said, first and foremost, we gotta build the team. We gotta go out and find people. So we invited them in, and I'll be honest, the first year we did not score a touchdown until the last game of the year. We got shut out in every game. My high score until the final game was my defensive tackle because we got a safety in one game. 2 years later, those kids won a state championship.
Here's my problem with high school football and turnaround stories. You get 3 years in high school, right? I imagine it so in Minnesota. NFL, yeah, you could have the same player for years, but maybe after 2 years, he got a fresh batch of varsity students that could really throw down. No credit to him. I don't know. This is kind of a stupid backstory, in my humble opinion.
That school has won several more since then after we
Right.
left. You build culture. You build
That's
winning.
right.
People want to be a part of it. And that's the excitement. That's the excitement of what it can be.
That's how I feel about our campaign.
Yeah.
Our campaign is the underdog campaign.
Oh, yeah.
And with our
Really? Because CNN was just boasting how you had raised $300 million to Trump's $102 million in campaign funds, how you have tens of thousands of people in attendance, yet you're campaigning as the underdogs? Bitch, please.
joy, we also have to understand that we're still up against some forces
Yes.
that are trying to divide our country. It pains me the kind of division and this.
It pains you, that division. You and Tim are leading the campaign, calling Republicans weird, calling them abnormal. They're the others. They're the people that we are not like.
Well, it's true. These guys are just
It
weird.
is.
And
It is.
you know, they're running for He-Man Women Haters Club or something. That's what they go at. That's not what people are interested in. Oh, there's something wrong with people when they talk about freedom, freedom to be in your bedroom, freedom to be in your exam room, freedom to tell your kids what they can read. That stuff is weird. They come across weird. They seem obsessed with it. These guys are just weird. That's who they are. So.
By the way, don't you find some of their stuff to just be plain weird?
Talk about divisive.
Stoking of divisions that has taken place,
Yes.
right? And when we can remind people and create a space for everyone to come where they see each other
That's
and
the
say,
magic.
hey,
No, I don't like safe spaces. I want unsafe spaces.
you
They're-
know,
they're
we're all
getting-
in this together.
It almost feels like everybody's coming out of their house after a blizzard and, a Minnesota reference, and you shovel out.
This dude realizes we don't all live in Minnesota, right? We don't all live in Minnesota.
And then you start talking to your neighbors.
Yeah.
How was it the last couple days or whatever it might be? They're re-energizing and they're looking for their neighbors. We keep saying,
That's
keep talking
right.
about the
Yeah.
promise of America, and we say, take care of your neighbor.
In the face of a stranger, when you're looking in the face of a stranger, you should see a neighbor, right?
Yeah. I'm about crying on this when you talk about, look, a girl from Oakland, California, and a guy from out in Nebraska.
Whoa, no. I don't know why they keep pushing this narrative that Kamala Harris grew up in Oakland, California. She's a tough girl from the streets. No, she grew up in Berkeley, California, until she was 12. Her parents divorced when she was 5. Her mom moved her up into Canada, where she spent her teenage years before graduating high school, coming back to California. She grew up in Berkeley, middle class. She was not from the hood.
Right?
On there. And the number of people I watch just kind of nod and break into a smile. This exploiting the differences, it can't last. I talk about it being halftime in America. We're a touchdown down because a lot of folks, it's easier to tear things down. It's easier to divide than it is to build. But once you start that momentum, once we come out and where we're at right now, people want to be part of something that's winning. They want to be part of something that's good, and they want to be part of something that everybody can be a part of. And I kind of like the idea of being a little bit behind.
Well, I'm looking at Coach Walz right now. I'm looking at Coach Walz.
Did you always know you wanted to be an attorney?
My parents met when they were active in the civil rights movement. I grew up around a bunch of people that were, marching and shouting for justice. And
my dad was an Army Ranger. I have no military experience. Compared to my dad, I'm a little bitch, if we're being honest. How does her growing up around that have any bearing on anything that she's doing now?
And some of the heroes of that movement were the lawyers, Thurgood Marshall, right? They understood how to translate the passion from the streets to the courtrooms of our country. And they believed in the Constitution of the United States and the principles upon which it was founded. And that's where they then, in the courts of America, reminded us of the promise, right? And the ideals of our country, including equality, freedom, right? That's why I went to law school. But the other reason is when I was in high school, my best friend I learned was being molested by her stepfather. And when I realized what was happening, I told her, you have to come live with us. I called my mom. I have to tell you, Tim, it was the first time that I realized how not everyone can take their safety for granted.
Yeah.
What a load of bullshit. When Kamala Harris was Attorney General of California, she stopped the enforcement of Jessica's Law, which imposed stricter penalties and restrictions on sex offenders. Kamala instructed parole officers to disregard the restrictions on where sex offenders could live, allowing them to live near children.
We should all feel as a sense of responsibility to protect people from harm.
Yeah.
So that's why I decided I want to be a prosecutor.
As Attorney General, Harris significantly expanded the practice of prosecuting parents of truant students, even leading to jail time of these students' parents, often targeting low-income and minority families. She talked about smoking marijuana while actively putting people away for that very crime. Harris also championed sanctuary cities and protected violent illegal immigrants. She refused to help deport Roni Aguilera, who later murdered a 22-year-old man by nearly cutting off his head with a sword. Harris fought for longer, harsher sentences, larger bail requirements, longer prison terms, more prosecution of petty crimes, greater criminal justice involvement in low-income and minority communities, and less due process for people in the system, less transparency, and less accountability for bad cops.
And as a prosecutor, I prosecuted homicide cases. I prosecuted a number of different types of cases, but I specialized in child sexual assault cases. And one of the things I did was create a whole unit dedicated to focusing on children who are being abused and to ensure that they have dignity in the process and justice.
Do you want your children diddled? Of course not. That's why you should vote for Kamala Harris.
So much work that we still have to do to make sure that children have a voice.
For me, that's kind of with me. Get in as a teacher. It's about the kids and wherever you teach.
Right.
Once I had my own children, it became so clear to me, and I think it made me a really good teacher.
Yeah.
That child who came through the door was somebody's most special thing in their life.
Absolutely.
Thinking of a parent dressing their little one up and sending them off to school so proud of them, I wanted to come through that door and just lift them up, that sense of service.
And
it's interesting, two different parts of the country, two different lived
and Canada
experiences, but all coming to that same goal of everybody getting a fair shot.
Well, I have to tell you, Tim, even though you and I grew up in different parts of the country, you remind
and Canada
me of the people I grew up with. Hardworking folks, plain speaking.
Yeah.
People who know the difference between right and wrong.
Yep.
And care, love thy neighbor in the most authentic and true way.
Yeah.
those are the folks I grew up with, and I know that's who you are, and I'm so glad we're doing this together.
I'm proud to be with you.
They should have talked about burgers, because that's what this conversation was, a big, gigantic nothing burger. No talk about policies, no talk about future plans. It's just, let's get to know each other, because no one knows who the hell we even are. We're a few months out from primaries, and it's like, we better tell people who we actually are so they'll maybe vote for us. Color me not impressed, but what did you think about this tuna and mayonnaise taco conversation? A lot of you guys have been asking us to make t-shirts and bumper stickers out of the Kamala yard sign designs from this video. So we took the top 3 designs and now offer them in t-shirts and bumper stickers, available now at conservativevibes.com, made in the USA. Please consider subscribing to Conservative Vibes if you haven't already, and we'll see you next time.